All right, we are finally on to getting to use our last picture, which is our picture of the Grinch. I'm sure you've been waiting with anticipation. This is going to be called factoring expressions. I might have to abbreviate expressions because I'm going to run out of room. Okay, and this is page 20. So the distributive property is a property. It's a way that things behave. Oh, whoopsie daisy. Factoring is a little bit different because it is kind of undoing a property, if that makes any sense at all. So I had to trim up my little Mr. Grinch. Probably in like 10 minutes. Okay. All right. Factoring an expression. So first of all, the Grinch is our mascot because the Grinch is the opposite of Santa. So that's thing number one. Santa gives equally to everyone. The Grinch takes equally from everyone. So factoring an expression, first of all, the word factor should bring to mind a lot of things, right? It's the same kind of factor. So if we do an example, let's say we had the expression 30 plus 20. Now, yes, you could probably solve that and say, hey, 30 plus 20 is 50, but let's pretend we're not doing that. And we want to Grinchify it. So the Grinch takes as much as he possibly can. He's greedy. Should have added that. As long as he can take the same amount from both numbers, he can take the same factor. So I'm thinking of factors of 30 and 50. 30 and 20, sorry. So they both have 2 as a factor. 3, 4, well, factors, this has 3, this has 4, they both have 5, this has 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They both have 10. So the greatest common factor of 10 of these two numbers is 10. So that's what the Grinch is going to take. He's going to take 10, a factor of 10, from both numbers. And he pulls it out front. So from 30 plus 20, we just said he could take a 10. Now when we take 30 and we pull out the factor of 10, 30 divided by 10 is 3. 20 divided by 10 is 2. So this, I usually use the term, is Grinchified. Grinchified, this is a factored expression that has been factored. Okay? Meaning we pulled a factor out front and we pulled it out of the numbers that were there. I imagine that you might be confused. So let's do another one. Oh, also, side note, thinking about what we just learned about the distributive property, this looks like a distributive property for Santa ready to distribute, right? 10 times 3 is 30 plus 10 times 2 is 20 equals 50. 30 plus 20 equals 50. If I did 3 plus 2 and got 5, 10 times 5 is 50. So any way I slice it, it's the same amount. It's just different ways to write the same amount. These are all just different ways to write the same amount. Like equivalent of fractions, these are equivalent expressions. Okay, let's say we have 16 minus 8. So the Grinch, right, is going to take as much as he can, and the greatest, well, first of all, they have many common factors. This is why we did this in chapter 2, because I'm so brilliant, I knew you'd need this. Common factors are 1, 2, 4, 8. Okay, greatest common factor is 8. So that is what the Grinch is going to take. Now, remember that we are dividing out the factor. When I say pulling it out, we're pulling it out by dividing. And this is important because one thing you need to know about the Grinch is he is not a kidnapper. He will always leave something behind. So in the expression, 16 minus 8, and we're going to pull the 8 factor out by dividing, I do 16 divided by, well, first I have my 8 out here. I do 16 divided by 8 and get 2 minus, because it was minus up here, 8 divided by 8 is 1. Okay? So you will never, ever just get rid of a term by factoring. Even if you're pulling out that factor, you're going to be left with 1. Okay, just for a real quick preview, we don't usually do this when we have all the numbers because we could just solve it. We usually do something like this when we're dealing with algebra. So in the expression 2a plus 6, we can take the factors of 2a and the factors of 6, and they both can be multiplied, or they're created multiplying by 2. I can divide 2 out of both of them. So the Grinch takes 2, and then we say, all right, what is 2a divided by 2? I'm left with just a. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And now we have here another Grinchified expression. And that's all for factoring an expression part 1.